What's up everyone, RainOfIron here with another Rain review. Today we're going to be talking about Kingdom Hearts 3. And just letting you know, this is going to be a quick review, considering this game has already been out for about a month, but I've been dealing with a lot of personal issues in the last month, which is why this review, as well as the Resident Evil 2 review I did, came out late. So to make up for that, I'm just going to make this a quick review, talk about some of the things I liked, talk about some of the things I disliked, and do it without really spoiling anything, because I'm going to let you know, this game, I liked it. I did. It's a good game for what it is. It is worth your $60. It's worth the money you pay for it. It really is. I'm a guy who only played the original Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 as well as Chain of Memories. I did not play Dream Drop Distance. I did not play Birth by Sleep. So I was going into this with a lot of fresh eyes. I didn't know a lot of the story, but I caught up with the story by watching a few YouTube stories. So let's get into this as quick as we can. Another Rain review, Rain Reviews Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, one of the first things I want to talk about is, of course, gummy ship customization, as well as exploration. In past games, this was one of my favorite features in the game. Being able to make your own spaceship and travel through the cosmos, within this world, within this realm. I loved that. And in this game, it's even more prevalent. You get to not only explore more, you get to customize more. And this game actually encourages exploration as well as customization. Now, one downfall is, of course, in the cutscenes, your created ship does not show up in the cutscenes. It always reverts back to the original default ship. But that doesn't take anything away from the actual exploration. Now, I will say this, that I was disappointed that there's really not that many areas to explore. But the areas it does give you to explore are vast, and there's so much to do, so much to find. Secret enemies to find and defeat, secret treasures you can find. There are these big golden globes, literally straight out of Treasure Planet, which Disney owns, but they didn't want to pay the rights to, in my opinion, so they didn't really give it a name. They just call these things treasures. But you can find these things all over the place, and it's really cool that they put so much effort into the exploration aspect of this game. I really like that. And it's one of my favorite parts of Kingdom Hearts 3 is the exploration and the creation of your own gummy ships. Now I want to talk about the combat in this game. And the combat I actually found was surprisingly addictive and fun at times. It actually encourages strategy, though it is technically just button mashing, and the combat does seem to get repetitive at certain points of the game. At certain levels of the game, I should say. And it's more so just because it feels like it's grinding at times, but at first the combat feels exhilarating, it feels fun. But then you start facing the same enemies over and over and over again, and the combat does get seriously repetitive. But if you can keep it interesting, the combat does stay fun in this game. And I'm actually really happy that the combat in this game is as fun as it is, because I was really worried at first when the combat started to get repetitive that that's all it was going to be, was repetitive combat. But it does keep itself entertaining. It does try to keep itself fresh at different times, because you find yourself fighting new enemies all the time, as well as learning new strategies, learning new techniques, different ways to fight characters. And ultimately, the combat in this game is repetitive, and it is a button masher for sure, but it encourages strategy. And I like that about the combat in this game, though repetitive as it is. Now let's get into the real question of this game. I've been hearing from many people, including my friends and other people outside of my friends, who have asked me, how is the story in this game? Is it convoluted? Does it make any sense? Yes, this story is very convoluted, and if you have not played any of the other Kingdom Hearts games outside of 1 or 2, or Chain of Memories like me, you'd be confused probably going into this game. But luckily for me, I watched things on YouTube that helped me understand everything that happened between the Kingdom Hearts games I did play and the ones I didn't play. So I actually went into this game understanding the story better than most people may or will. My friends don't care for Kingdom Hearts. I have friends who've only played the first two entries of the Kingdom Hearts franchise, 1 and 2. So their experience may differ from my experience. My experience with this game going in was simply this. This story didn't make sense to me the first time I played it through. Thankfully, I was willing to give it a second chance and a third chance. I am currently on my third playthrough through this game on Proud difficulty, and I am trying to 100% this game. And I now completely understand this story because I actually paid attention and listened to it. This story makes sense if you actually listen to it. It is a bunch of gibberish. It really is. But it's masterful gibberish. It is sci-fi, fantasy at its best. It really is, if you pay attention to it. The story is complete nonsense. But that's okay because it's a fantasy game. It's made by Square Enix. It's made by Disney. Come on, you're gonna get nonsensical. But let's talk real here real quick. The story of this game. How is it really? They cover everything in this game. Literally everything. If you have never played any Kingdom Hearts games outside of 1 or 2, they'll catch you up in the game as you play it. You don't even have to worry about going and watching stuff on YouTube or anything like that, because they literally try and do their very best to catch you up on everything that's happened in the Kingdom Hearts franchise right here in this game. You have to get to a certain point before they do that, but they do try to do it. And I actually like that, because I was lost after a while, even though I watched stuff on YouTube, and coming into this game I was thinking I'm not going to know anything that's going on. But the game helped me understand exactly what was going on, and because of that I understood the story, and I enjoyed the story more because of it. The story in this game is not a weak point in any sense of the word. If anything, it's a strong point for this game, because the story is so convoluted. It is so hard to understand that it's a unique story. Oh my goodness, right? A unique story. For once in a freaking lifetime, you get to play a game with a unique story. By the way, did I mention there's no microtransactions in this game at all? Just wanted to throw that out there. No microtransactions at all. I'm happy. Thank you. Thank you, Disney. Thank you, Square Enix. Disney, why don't you do the same thing with your Star Wars franchise and take it away from EA? Sorry, we're getting off track here. But seriously, talking about this game in general, the story. This game has a good story. As convoluted as it is, as confusing as it may seem, the story does make sense if you understand what they're trying to do. And I do, because I get stories like this. I've played Final Fantasy games. I've played Kingdom Hearts games. So I get the story they're trying to tell here. And it is pretty fucking good. Excuse my language, but it is. I can't wait for Kingdom Hearts 4. Now I'm going to let you know right now. This may be the end of Sora's story. No spoilers intended. But this may be the end of Sora's story. It's not the end of the Kingdom Hearts story, but it may very well be the end of Sora's story. Now let's move on to my final verdict. My final score on this game is a really hard one for me because ultimately I wanted to give this game a 7 out of 10. But after playing through it a couple more times, I ultimately ended up on an 8 out of 10. And that's what this game really is. It is a solid 8 out of 10. And it deserves your money. It deserves every cent of that $60 that you pay for this game. Or the $100 that you paid for this, for the expansion bundle or whatever it is that comes with all the Kingdom Hearts games. Whatever you paid for this game, It was worth it. This game is worth the money that you paid for it. But ultimately, I can't give it anything higher than an 8. Because it is technically repetitive. It gets very repetitive towards the end of the game. Especially for someone like me, who's aiming to try and get 100% on this game. Not only that, but this game's story is very convoluted and is hard to understand, and it's hard to bring in new players when you have such a convoluted story. So this game is only tending to the fan base that it currently has. This is a very difficult game to bring in new fans into. And that's my opinion on it. That's just my opinion. But ultimately, this game is a solid 8 out of 10 and an easy must-buy for any Kingdom Hearts, any Final Fantasy, any fantasy game fan in general. This game is an easy must-buy. 8 out of 10, and I'm going to let you know right now, I love this game. This game has grown on me. Through my first playthrough, I wasn't sure about it. I honestly thought about giving it a 6 out of 10 through my first playthrough. But after playing through it again, and then ultimately going through it one more time on proud difficulty, trying to 100% it, I appreciate this game more. It is an 8 out of 10. It is solid gameplay, solid story. Sure, the cutscenes, most of them are ripped literally right out of the movies almost. But it's still there. And I love the fact that this game does everything it can to keep itself separate from other games. When you think of this game going forward, you won't be able to put it in a category with any other game because it's not like any other game. That right there is what most games should strive for. Being unique. Kingdom Hearts 3 is unique, which is why ultimately I give it an 8 out of 10. Thank you. RainOfIron out. See you next time on another Rain review.